Okay, I'm going to start off by saying I don't believe you should speak ill of the dead, at least right after they've passed away. I mean, have an opinion, that's completely fine. But give, people a little time to grieve. You know, get over the death and then go on your idiotic bullshit rants. But this Fresno State professor, nah, she couldn't be bothered to wait.
Really, bitch? Really?
Fresno State professor who bashed Barbara Bush won't be disciplined. Okay, now just let me say, I didn't like either of the Bush presidents. She was a first lady, not a president. So, now mind you, she was the first lady when I was a kid, so I don't remember a whole lot of her from about that time. But let's read on. A Fresno State University professor who celebrated the death of Barbara Bush in a profanity-laced rant on Twitter will not be disciplined, the university's president said in a statement Tuesday. In a note to the campus community, Joseph Castro said that English instructor Rhonda Gerard's comments about the late First Lady were insensitive, inappropriate, and an embarrassment to the university, but are protected free speech under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Which is completely true. But, let's be honest, if the roles were flipped and it was somebody saying something bad about, like, Michelle Obama, for example, imagine the hypocritical uproar that would ensue. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think it should happen either way. Sure, get offended, but don't get pissy about it. But I mean, it's not going to stop. Castro added that Gerard would remain on leave through the spring semester, which she had previously requested before the incident. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the Bushes. But if somebody had said something like this towards Michelle Obama or Barack Obama or a liberal politician or their spouse, the outrage that would ensue would be beyond belief. They'd want them fired and all this, despite it being freedom of speech. A textbook definition of freedom of speech. I just think it's absolutely hilarious. Gerard drew outrage when she tweeted hours after Bush's death on April 17th that the wife of one president and the mother of another was a generous and smart and amazing racist who, along with her husband, raised a war criminal. She added, "Fuck out of here with your nice words." How the fuck would she know what kind of person Barbara Bush was? Did she know her? Odds are not. So fuck out of here with your assumptions. But like I said, I don't like the Bushes, but just gotta point out the idiocy. PSA, either you're against these pieces of shit and their genocidal ways, or you're part of the problem. That's actually how simple it is. I'm happy the witch is dead. Can't wait for the rest of her family to fall to their demise the way 1.5 million Iraqis have. Bye! Like I said, this is a textbook case of freedom of speech, no matter how stupid, ignorant, bullshit it is. The fact I wouldn't have said anything like this, especially just hours after someone's death. If you flip political leanings, holy crap, the outrage. Gerard also said she was happy that the witch is dead and bragged that she wouldn't be fired for her remarks because she had tenure. Yeah. Tenure can be a double-edged sword. I make $100,000 a year doing that, she told one Twitter user. I will never be fired. I will always have people wanting to hear what I have to say. And that right there is the perfect example of idiotic teachers. If they're not able to keep politics and their profession separate, they don't deserve to have that job. Because you are not hired to brainwash people with your politics. You are hired to teach English or whatever subject it may be. So if you can't keep your politics out of it, get the fuck out. Be it liberal, conservative, doesn't matter. You want to teach conservative values, go teach at a Christian school. If you want to teach liberal values, start your own liberal school. Admittedly, a lot of people will say any college that's not a Christian school is a liberal school. Yes and no. Is it meant to be? Not necessarily. Has it become one? Possibly. In his letter, Castro wrote that the university's action is an issue of free speech and not related to Gerard's job or tenure. A Change.org petition calling for her to be fired had garnered more than 45,000 signatures as of Tuesday evening. Now, don't get me wrong, Change.org petitions have worked in the past. I've signed some that have helped. I've signed some that haven't. I've seen them that have worked. I've seen them that haven't. But people are too quick to jump. We must start a petition for I disagree with her opinion, so she must be fired. No. Stop with the outrage culture. It's fucking pathetic. It makes you look like an infant. You're throwing a fucking temper tantrum because you don't get your way, so you gotta cry, scream, and just be a fucking idiot. And it's got to stop. Our duty as Americans and as educators is to promote a free exchange of diverse views, even if we disagree with them, Castro wrote near the end of his letter. At Fresno State, we encourage opinions and ideas to be expressed in a manner that informs, enlightens, and educates without being disparaging of others. Well, let's be honest, okay? He's saying this at a university of someone who is clearly a liberal, Gerard, saying something about someone who was married to a conservative politician and birthed a conservative politician. But my question is, would his words be the same if like I said, if the spectrum was flipped around? If it was a conservative professor saying something about a liberal politician, would he say the same thing? I'd be one to say no, but I would honestly, if he sees this video, I would love to know his answer. Gerard grew up in Kuwait and Egypt and moved to the US after the Gulf War, according to her university faculty page. She describes herself in her Twitter messages as an Arab American and a Muslim American woman. In an email to New York Magazine Tuesday, Gerard said that she absolutely stood by her comments about the Bushes. The Bush family, including Barbara Bush, supported policies that harmed and destroyed the lives of millions, she wrote, adding, I am not the only person who has stated the belief that Barbara Bush was a racist, but women of color routinely have their tone policed and their justified anger painted as hatred and their criticism of injustice framed as racism toward white people. No, it's only racism towards white people when you're a complete idiot about it, when you just say shit that is completely false, when you incite violence towards people based on the fact that they're white, when you make claims about white people without knowing for certain whether they felt that way or not. Basically, if it's anything that would have been racist towards Arab Americans, Muslims, or black people, it would be racist towards white people coming from somebody that's not white. But people don't like to say that because apparently you can't be racist towards white people, which we all know is complete and utter horseshit. So, in conclusion, fuck her, simply because she didn't have the common human fucking decency to wait to let a family mourn and grieve. But other than that, yeah, freedom of speech, go for it, woohoo, big fucking deal. But tell me, what do you think would be the reaction if the roles were flipped? If she was a conservative and it was a liberal she was talking about? Literally, I really want to know. Leave them in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more. It's always appreciated. I'll see you in the next one.